All right, let's just jump right in. For hundreds of years, scientific writing has been this slow, careful, very human process. But lately, well, there's a ghost in the machine. Artificial intelligence is now writing, editing, and pulling together research on a scale we have literally never seen before. And you know what? It's changing absolutely everything.
This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It really sets the stage for what we're talking about today. The conversation is not about humans versus machines. It's about a crazy powerful new tool. The researchers, the doctors, the scientists who figure out how to use this thing, they are the ones who are going to lead the way. This isn't optional anymore. It's becoming a fundamental skill.
Oh man, anybody who's ever written a research paper knows the old way on the left all too well. It's that painful, tedious process, right? We're talking endless hours buried in the library, sifting through stacks of papers by hand. But now, look at the right. The AI way is promising a completely different world, one where a literature review that took months might now take minutes. It's a revolution, and we're here to break down what it all means.
So how is this actually happening? I mean, what does it look like in practice? In this first part, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty and look at exactly how AI is weaving its way into the entire research workflow. Think of it as a supercharger, taking you from that first spark of an idea all the way to a published paper. This lays it out perfectly. Look at this new life cycle. In step 1 for discovery, you've got tools like Dimensions AI that can comb through grants and patents in just seconds. Then for step 2, deep review, a tool like SciSummary can whip up an abstract or even an audio summary of a dense paper. How cool is that? Then, of course, step 3, drafting, is where tools like PaperPal or ChatGPT come in to help you write and refine. And finally, step 4, submission prep, where they help check for things like plagiarism. You see, it's all about accelerating rigor, not replacing it. Now, let's just pause on this number for a second. An 84% reduction in writing time? I mean, just let that sink in. That isn't a small improvement. That is a fundamental, ground-shaking change. Think of all those hours that scientists can now spend actually doing science instead of being bogged down in paperwork. And here's the other side of that coin, which is just as important. You might think, okay, it's faster, but is it any good? Well, studies are actually showing the opposite. This speed doesn't have to sacrifice quality. In fact, AI help can boost the final quality of a manuscript by up to 14%. It helps with clarity, with structure, especially for folks who aren't native English speakers. So yeah, it's faster and it can be better. But, and this is a really big but, all of this incredible new power brings with it a whole bunch of new, really complicated problems. We've seen all the amazing opportunities, but now it's time to ask some tough questions. What are the dangers hiding in the code? Let's take a walk through the ethical minefield. This table really breaks down the 4 main headaches that everyone is dealing with right now. First, there's bias. Garbage in, garbage out, right? If an AI learns from biased data, it's going to give you biased results. Second, authorship. An AI can't be held responsible for its work, so it can't be an author. And that leads you right to number 3, accountability. The buck stops with the human. The author is 100% on the hook for every single word. And finally, plagiarism. This just opens up a whole new can of worms for how we define originality. This question really gets to the heart of the whole issue. Let's say an AI makes something up, they call it a hallucination, and that error gets into a published medical paper, and God forbid, a patient gets hurt. Who's liable? The scientist? The university? The company that made the AI? The legal world is basically playing a frantic game of catch-up right now. And the law is slowly starting to give us some answers. There's this key legal idea called the human authorship doctrine, which was just confirmed in a big case, Thaler versus Perlmutter. And here's the bottom line. For something to get copyright protection, a human has to have created it, period. If an AI generates it all by itself, there is no author, legally speaking. And that has huge implications for intellectual property. But you know, beyond copyright, there's an even more urgent risk: data security. In medical research, you're dealing with sensitive patient info. And here, the rule is simple. It's absolute. You cannot, I repeat, cannot put that data into any AI tool unless you have a signed Business Associate Agreement, or a BAA. If you use one of those free public tools, you could be training their AI on confidential patient data. That's a massive legal and ethical disaster waiting to happen. This chart right here just shows how messy things are on the ground. A recent study found AI-generated text in more than a third of abstracts submitted to journals. But now look at that second bar.
Only 9% of the authors actually said they used it. That gap is enormous. We're talking about a huge transparency problem that really undermines scientific integrity. Okay, so we've mapped out the problems. It seems a little scary, I know. But the good news is the scientific community is already building the solutions. The Wild West phase is coming to an end, and major institutions are starting to lay down the new rules of engagement. Here it is. This is the big one, the one rule to rule them all. And pretty much everyone is agreeing on it. Let me just say it plainly. Artificial intelligence cannot be credited as an author on a scientific paper. It's a tool, not a teammate. And this isn't just a friendly suggestion. The big players in publishing ethics, groups like the ICMJE and COPE, have made their position crystal clear. Their rules are simple. 1, no AI authors. 2, human authors are totally accountable for everything. And 3, if you used AI in a major way to write your paper, you absolutely must disclose it. Transparency is mandatory now. So, to help people actually follow these new rules, we're seeing practical tools pop up, like what's being called the gamer statement. The best way to think of it is like the concert checklist for clinical trials. It's just a simple 9-point checklist to guide you through exactly how to report your AI use. This is probably going to become the new gold standard. So, we've got the rules, but what does this all mean for you when you're just trying to get your work done? Let's get really practical here with a simple guide, the absolute essential do's and don'ts for using these tools. Let's break this down. On the do side, definitely use AI to brainstorm, to build outlines, to make your writing clearer. It's fantastic for that. But on the don't side, do not trust its citations. Seriously, they can be completely made up. Don't just let it rewrite huge chunks of your paper for you, and never ever treat what the AI spits out as the final word. You are the expert. You always get the last say. If you only take away one thing, let it be this. This little phrase is the perfect mindset. The AI is your research assistant, a really, really fast and powerful one, for sure, but it is not your co-author. You are in charge. So after all that, where does this leave us? Well, when we look ahead, it's becoming really clear that the winning model isn't human versus machine. It's human plus machine. The future, it seems, is a partnership. Yeah, pretty much everyone is landing on this idea of a symbiotic relationship. Let the AI do the heavy lifting, right? The brute force work of sifting through data, drafting text, and that frees up the human researcher to do what we do best. Think critically, ask weird and wonderful questions, and provide that absolutely essential ethical oversight. And this is the winning formula right here. It's not one or the other, it's the combination. You take the pure, raw efficiency of AI, and you guide it with the deep, irreplaceable expertise and judgment of a human scientist. That combo is what's going to create the best research from here on out. So we'll end with this final thought. The tools we use to write our science always end up shaping the science we do and the future we build with it. So as we hand the pen over to AI, even just a little bit, we have to stay awake and keep asking ourselves, are we steering this technology or is it steering us? The answer to that is going to define the next era of discovery.